You can use this video to practice your listening and comprehension skills as I speak. Before we start, remember to subscribe to the channel and click the bell. Are you ready? Today I'm going to talk about transportation. This is an important topic because we all use some kind of transportation in our lives. Let's talk about the different types of transportation. One popular type of transportation is the subway. In other countries, people also use the words metro or underground, but in the US, we usually say subway. Many big cities around the world have a subway system. In cities like Paris, London, and Tokyo, the subway system is amazing. The subways in these cities are very organized and efficient. However, many big cities in the U.S. don't have good subway systems. Most people in the U.S. drive cars, so they don't need to take the subway. In my hometown of San Diego, we don't have a subway system. I like taking the subway in other countries because it's easy. You can go anywhere in the city without a car, but in some cities, the subway stations are dirty and a little scary. You need to be careful when you take the subway. Okay, another form of public transportation is taking the bus. Big cities have bus systems that help people move around. In some cities, buses are nice, clean, and safe, but in other cities, buses are old, dirty, and a little dangerous. For example, in Mexico, most buses are old and uncomfortable. They can also be dangerous because many bus drivers drive really badly. They drive really fast and often have accidents. Most people don't like taking the bus, but sometimes they have to. In many cities, taking the bus is cheap. If you don't have a lot of money, the bus can be a good option. Okay, now let's talk about taxis and Ubers. In the past, many people took taxis, but nowadays many people use Uber. I love using Uber. I use it all the time. And Uber is cheaper than a taxi, and it's usually safe. I always have good experiences using Uber. I've taken a few taxis before, but I didn't like it. Taxis are usually expensive. In some cities, Uber is illegal, so people can't use it. How about you? Do you use Uber in your city? Okay, another common type of transportation is riding a bike. This is a great way to move around the city because it's free. Riding bikes is also a healthy activity. The problem is that it's dangerous in some cities. In some cities, the drivers are crazy, so it's dangerous to ride a bike in the street. In other cities, there are bike lanes in the street, so it's safer. But I think it's always a little dangerous to ride a bike in the city. One more type of transportation is walking. This is my favorite type of transportation because it's easy, free, and fun. I love walking because I love being outside. I think everyone should try to walk more. Today I'm going to talk about technology. This is a great topic because we all use technology every day. You're using technology to watch this video right now. So, let's talk about some different kinds of technology today. One really important type of technology is computer technology. Computers today are much different than computers from the past. 20 or 30 years ago, computers were really limited. They couldn't do the things that computers do today. In the past, they were also really big. But today, computers come in many different sizes. Computers today are fast, powerful, and easy to use. I remember when I first started using a computer. I was 6 years old. I like playing computer games, but all of the games were very basic at that time. I still thought they were really fun. Today, computer games are very complex. All right, now let's talk about cell phones. When I was a kid, not many people had cell phones. Most people used landlines, which are phones inside your house. Nowadays, not many people have landlines. Everyone has cell phones now. I remember getting my first cell phone when I was 12 years old. I thought it was so cool. These days, phones are extremely important because you can do almost anything on your phone. But I think the most important technology today is the internet. Most people use the internet every day to do many things. People like me need the internet in order to work. If I don't have internet, I can't work. We also use the internet to study, to shop, and to entertain ourselves. I can't imagine not having the internet. I use it for many hours every day. How about you? How many hours a day do you use the internet? Okay, now let's talk about technology of the past. For example, one really important invention was the motorized vehicle, or the car. Before cars, people traveled by horse, by foot, or in other ways. When the car was invented, people were able to travel more easily. Cars from the past looked very different from today's cars. I think old cars looked pretty cool. Another really important invention was electricity. Before electricity, people had to use candles and fire for light. At night, the cities were much darker than today. Nowadays, our cities have so much light at night. And of course, we use electricity for so many different things today. Sometimes the electricity goes out and everything stops working. I hate when the electricity goes out. One more important invention was the television. In the past, television was the greatest form of entertainment. Everyone sat down in the evenings and watched TV. Nowadays, more people watch TV shows on their computers, like on Netflix. Many young people prefer doing everything on their computer or cell phone. Today I'm going to talk about the supermarket. This is a useful topic because most people buy food from supermarkets. One important note. In the U.S., many people use the phrase grocery store instead of supermarket. I usually say grocery store, but you can use both. So, first, let's talk about big supermarkets. The most famous supermarket is Walmart. Walmart is really big and sells many items. They sell food, clothes, electronics, furniture, and much more. Walmart has everything. In big supermarkets, there are a lot of cheap items. Personally, I don't like big supermarkets. I prefer smaller supermarkets because they often have better products. I like to buy organic food, so I search for small organic stores. These stores are usually more expensive than big supermarkets. Organic food is more expensive than non-organic food, but I think it's worth the price. In big supermarkets, I can't find the products I like. That's why I go to small local stores. There are also some very small supermarkets too. We call these convenience stores. For example, 7-Eleven is a convenience store. These stores sell some food and drinks, but they don't have a lot of items. I go to convenience stores when I need to buy just 1 or 2 items, but I don't usually shop at convenience stores. They don't have all the items that I need. How about you? Do you prefer big supermarkets, small supermarkets, or convenience stores? Some people don't go to supermarkets. They buy their groceries online. Nowadays, you can buy everything online. You order it, and someone brings it to your house. This is becoming a popular option. I order some items online, but I don't order food online. Okay, now let's learn some important supermarket vocabulary. Our first vocabulary word is cart. When you enter a grocery store, you grab a cart. You put all of your items in your cart while you're shopping. Or, if you're only buying a few items, you can use a basket which you carry. Our next word is aisle. Aisles are the rows of products in a store. You walk up and down the aisles when you go shopping. The next phrase is on sale. When an item is on sale, this means that it has a lower price than normal. I love when items are on sale. Okay, one more word, cashier. The cashier is the person that you pay when you're done shopping. In the U.S., cashiers are usually friendly. Nowadays, in some supermarkets, you can pay without a cashier. This is called self-checkout. Some people prefer cashiers, and other people prefer the self-checkout option. I like both options. Today I'm going to talk about jobs. This is a really common topic because most adults have a job or some type of work. Let's talk about the different types of jobs that people have. One common type of job is a part-time job. A part-time job is a job where you work fewer hours. I had part-time jobs when I was younger. I worked part-time at a clothing store, at a restaurant, and at my university. Many students have part-time jobs. They study in the morning and work in the evening. I did this when I was a student. In the U.S., many teenagers get a job when they're in high school. I got my first job when I was 17. I was in my last year of high school. I worked at a clothing store called Hollister. I didn't like that job, but I liked earning money. Some of my classmates worked at fast food restaurants like McDonald's. I also had a part-time job when I was in college. When I was in college, I worked at the university's dining hall. A dining hall is the place on a university campus where students eat. I worked as a cook and a dishwasher at my dining hall. I didn't like washing dishes. I liked cooking more than dishwashing. How about you? Have you ever had a part-time job? Okay, now let's talk about full-time jobs. In the U.S., people who have full-time jobs usually work 40 hours a week or more. Some people work a lot more, like 50 or 60 hours a week. For some full-time jobs, you need a college degree. For other full-time jobs, you don't need a degree. In the U.S., there are many different jobs available in different industries. Some examples of industries are finance, marketing, medicine, IT, and education. I work in the education industry because I'm a teacher. There are many good jobs in the U.S. for people who don't have degrees. For example, you can be an electrician, a plumber, a truck driver, or many other things. People who have these jobs make good money in the U.S. Most salaries in America are high compared to other countries. Americans make a lot of money, but they have to spend a lot of money. Life is very expensive in the U.S. The normal schedule for full-time jobs is from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the U.S. However, some people start work earlier, like at 8 a.m., and other people end later, like at 6 p.m. I start work pretty early at 7:30 a.m., but I also finish early at 4:30 p.m. I prefer starting work early and finishing work early. Most people work Monday to Friday, and they have weekends off. Most people don't like working on the weekends. I work in the morning on Saturdays, but I have Sundays off. I never work on Sundays. How about you? What's your work schedule?